Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a wonderful episode of Sporting Perspective. We are in week one of the college football season. Week zero was a nice little teaser, but now we get the full slate, games all weekend. James, how excited are you for this upcoming weekend?
I'm really excited to be watching on my phone because my sister's visiting from New York, so I don't know if I'll be able to watch too many of the games, but I'll definitely be following on my phone. Um, Goal is to at least watch U of A, Hawaii late night Saturday, but unfortunately, I'm probably gonna miss this full great slate that we have on Saturday. Um, but I'm still excited. At least it's not week zero, so. Which nothing against week zero. We had. Oh, I know we'll
Yep.
get there in a sec, but it actually wasn't an awful week zero. But it's nice to have the full slate, like I said.
Yep, it's going to be nice to actually see a lot of these big teams play. I know we have like 20 games where, big schools are playing, D2 schools, these FBS schools. But it's still going to be nice to see everyone play and see what everyone's got to show across the board. Um, Before we jump into week one, though, I know you wanted to talk about a couple of things for week zero, so I'll give you the platform to go into that right now.
Yeah, figured I'd just get back into my James's notes that I did last season, but not too many. The big game of the weekend was dubbed Farmageddon in Dublin, so that was Iowa State against Kansas State, and honestly, it kind of lived up to the hype after the first half. It was pretty rainy in Dublin, a lot of turnovers in the first half, but it turned out to be a pretty good game. Rocco Becht, quarterback of Iowa State, outdueled Avery Johnson, quarterback of Kansas State. And honestly, the big highlight from the game was Avery Johnson's father, I believe, got in a fight with his own son. He I'd have to dive a little deeper into that, but I'm pretty sure Avery Johnson's father was like beating up one of the other sons in the stands. I don't know what about, but whatever. But yeah, anyways, that was two ranked teams. So unfortunately, I know you had picked Kansas State to win the Big 12, so they're a little bit of a disadvantage, but one game shouldn't hurt them. The big game that Ashley and I watched was Kansas. They were playing Jalen Daniels. He was the star. He looked good. He's healthy. He's pretty dynamic when he's healthy. Keyword is when or if, because he seems to be hurt all the time. I think he's in his fourth or fifth. He's definitely a senior. I'm not sure if he's a fifth year senior or not, but um, he looked pretty good. Kansas debuted their new stadium. Half of their brand new stadium is built. Rest of it, I think, will be hopefully in the next year or two. Uh, Fun little shout out for you and I being Brophy guys. The quarterback for Fresno State was EJ Warner, Kurt Warner's son. He started off actually pretty good, and just he had a good first two drives, and that was about it. He didn't really have too good of a game. But Kansas is probably about the best team they'll play. Maybe like a Boise State. And last but not least, we had Hawaii kicker Matsuzawa. He drilled a 38-yarder to beat Stanford. Not the greatest game in terms of pedigree, Hawaii Stanford, but it was about the only other thing on that night, unless you wanted to watch, week three of preseason NFL football. But fun thing about him, he and his family, so he's from Tokyo, and he traveled to the States, went to an NFL game. This is, who knows how, obviously he's in his teens. Decides, I want to be a kicker. Goes back to Japan, watches YouTube videos, and now he's kicking at Hawaii. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And that's honestly, that's all I got. That's all I got for week zero. Those are kind of the major points.
Yeah, it goes back to that whole thing. Week zero really is kind of a teaser, just 5 games, not a whole lot to talk about. But it is a teaser that rolls into this weekend, which is going to be a pretty solid week of college football. And I don't think we have much else to say, but let's kind of jump into some of these big games that are going to happen this upcoming week, since we've got three top 10 games, which is a great way to start the season. And I'm very excited for it. And I think we'll just start out with the biggest game potentially, all regular season. This is as good as it gets, with number one Texas heading over to Columbus to take on number three Ohio State. Ohio State obviously going to be celebrating their national championship. Um, it's basically feels like the first game of the year, and it's 1 versus 3. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, it's too bad that the coaches poll had them 1-2, and I know we talked about this in the previous show about Penn State getting number 2, but it really would have been fun to have 1-2 for the first weekend. I mean, 1-3
Yeah,
obviously it's not like rankings don't matter at this point of the year. I don't even know honestly if I've never seen probably a better opening game than this. Literally the first game of Saturday. They're hosting College Game Day and Big Noon Kickoff,
yep.
so that's pretty fun. And I'm pretty sure this is Lee Corso's kind of swan.
Farewell.
So farewell. So that'll be fun. Um, I'm taking Texas by 3. And one new thing that we're going to start incorporating into these who we're choosing is I have simulated all of the top 5 games of the week we're going to be doing. I've done a simulation in college football, so I'll add that at the end after we give our little preview prediction. But I like Texas. I think Arch Manning has just a little bit more. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I don't want to call him a veteran because he didn't play that much last year, but he at least played a little bit last year. And new quarterback for Ohio State, saying I don't know anything about him yet. I've never seen him play, so I'm going with the quarterback here, who I think just has a little bit more to give, and he definitely has the weight of his shoulders on him as the number one team in the country. So both teams lost a lot in the draft, but I'm taking Texas by 3 on the road.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very close game. Of course, two great programs. I'm going to take Texas as well. I think it will be very close. I think both teams leave actually feeling pretty good about themselves. I don't think, unless one team gets blown out, I don't see either team walking out of that building being like, "Oh, we're in deep trouble here." But I think Texas wins. I think Manning starts his legacy in this game and really shows that he belongs in that elite class. Ohio State, even though they've lost a lot of guys, I have a feeling there's going to be a slight hangover with the celebrations of the national championship and everything like that going down. So I'm going to take Texas. I think it's going to mean just a little bit more to them as well, just that much. I think if Ohio State loses, there's not going to be as much panic as if Texas loses. If Texas loses, I think there'll be a little bit more, okay, who is this, everything like that. Ohio State loses, I think it's going to be a lot more of, they just came off a national championship. They'll figure it out.
I agree
So,
with you. I think the media, I don't think it'd be that big of a deal. I'm curious to see if Texas wins, what the Ohio State fans do, because I know they're coming off a national championship, but it seems like they still just don't like Ryan Day. Like
yeah.
talk about a guy who literally won a national championship, and then if he doesn't do well this year, could be on the hot seat.
Yeah, it's true. What did the simulation say?
So simulation had Texas 29, Ohio State 23.
Go Ducks. Okay, cool. Sorry, someone just drove past.
You're good.
Yeah. All right,
Oregon
let's go
fans
on.
everywhere.
There's Oregon fans everywhere. Hopefully, we beat Montana State. That would be bad if we don't. We won't be talking about that game, but we'll be going to another game. Um, we got Alabama number 8 heading to Florida State after their disastrous season last year. Will they be able to turn it around? Alabama, about a 13.5 point favorite in this one. Seems kind of low, but who do you got?
I'm taking Alabama to cover. I know you said 13 and a half. I've seen it kind of jump around. At one point it was up to 14, then 14 and a half. Maybe it's back to 13 and a half. Right around that two touchdown uh, cover. I think Alabama will handle Florida State. I don't think they've really gotten much better. I know they have a Castellanos transferred in to be their quarterback, but man, they were so bad last year, and it's tough picking these early games because you have to sort of go off last year a little bit with the players that return, and then you have so many transfers now that I mean, these a lot of these teams are like brand new. So like Alabama, I'm picking them because they have that stellar receiver and a quarterback who was at the program last year, played behind what's his name in Seattle. Milrow.
Milrow.
Yeah, but they're Alabama. They're ranked 8 for a reason. Florida State's not ranked, and like I said, they were just god awful last year. So I'm
Yep.
I'm taking Bama to cover the spread.
Yep. Florida State will be better this year, but Alabama will win this game. I don't think it's going to be as soundly as people think. I think they'll cover. I don't think it's going to be like by 4 touchdowns. I think it's going to be fairly tight. But Florida State will be better this year. But I'll take Alabama.
So this is interesting. The simulation had Florida State 11, Alabama 10. So
All right.
super defensive, and Florida State winning at home, I guess. So yeah,
We'll see what
chalk that up
happens
and
there.
see what happens.
They don't think anyone's going to score. Let's move to the next game. Number 9, LSU heading to Clemson, number 4. Two teams that are bringing back quite a bit of talent. LSU also always seems to schedule these games that are tough at the beginning of the year. But who do you got in this high stellar matchup?
Yeah, I'm taking LSU by a couple of field goals. Brian Kelly's never won an opening game for LSU, so I think he finally gets it done. I mean, this is literally a toss up of a game. I mean, I think the spread is like 1.5, or it's no more than 3. Clemson's also really good. This will be a really fun quarterback matchup with Klubnik and Nussmeier. I'm just going LSU just because, one, I picked them to win the SEC, and I think winning a game like this will show that they really want to go out and win a national championship. I know Nussmeier came back when he could have been one of the top quarterbacks taken, and I think I saw some stat that this is the most expensive team in college football. I'm pretty sure LSU has spent like 12 to 13 million on this team, so they're basically going all out. So nothing against Clemson. I think they're very very good, and it was really tough for me not to pick them at home. But the winner of this is their stadium is the real Death Valley. This is the battle for Death Valley. So
Yep. Yeah, I'm actually going to take Clemson. Home field advantage on this one, I think, is going to play a big key. I just don't like taking LSU in these early season matchups. They just don't seem to perform very well. So I'm going to take Clemson. As I said before, I think this puts Clemson, if they win this one, I haven't seen the percentages, but I feel like this has got to put them in a really good spot. I know it's one game to put them in the playoff. I feel like this is LSU is going to have a lot of shots throughout the season with the SEC, and they're going to have to prove it and all this stuff. But I feel like if Clemson wins this one, that the ACC being pretty down, this pretty much sets up a very doable 11-1, 12-0 season for Clemson, which should almost pencil them in pretty early on. So I think they come out with a lot of fire. It helps being at home. I'm going to take Clemson, especially after kind of a down-ish year last year. And, the last few years they haven't been what we saw at the end of, the 2010s. I think we get back to that. And I think good game, but I think in the end, Clemson wins handily. A handily one-score game.
simulation is very very opposite of myself and you. Simulation has LSU, or I have LSU by 6. You have Clemson winning by, we'll say, a touchdown.
Mhm.
Simulation has LSU 41, Clemson 23.
Jeez. Okay.
So not a lot of hope in
defense.
that Clemson defense, and maybe it's players like Nussmeier who just kind of go off, or I mean that's a lot of points.
It's a
So
lot of points. Okay. All right. Fair enough. We'll go to the next one. This is the Sunday, or is this the? I think this is a Sunday night game. I don't have it written down.
Sunday.
Notre Dame. Oh, this one's Monday.
No, you're right.
So this is
Sunday.
Sunday. Sunday. So this is number. We got Notre Dame heading to Miami, 6 versus 11. Miami, Florida, of course, not Ohio. Who do you got in this one? This feels like a classic matchup.
Yeah, this is like the straight Catholics versus convicts from years back. I don't think Miami's much of a. They're not as hard as they've used to be. They're not like the U from the ESPN documentaries, but they're still a good team. I'm taking Miami by 1 point, and the only reason I'm giving it to Miami is just because they have Carson Beck, and I think Carr, who got named quarterback for Notre Dame, he's got a lot to prove, and for your first start to be on the road uh, down in Miami, I mean that's pretty tough. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if the game plan is to just feed Jeremiah Love a lot of touches just to ease the nerves of Carr, but I'm taking Miami. I think the home crowd helps. I also just think Miami's a really good team. And Carson Beck, I still think he's a good quarterback. He wasn't bad last year, but he was a Heisman hopeful who, uh, hopeful was the key word. He didn't really have that great of a year. So he's going to be looking to kind of bounce back and boost his name back up into a high quarterback draft class. So yeah, Miami by 1.
So, kind of one of the things that you said was what I was going to say. I think Jeremiah Love gets a lot of touches in this game. I think Notre Dame actually controls the clock. I can see Carson Beck making a few mistakes here and there, being with a new team and everything like that. A lot of new guys on that Miami offense. I see this being a low scoring game, and I think Notre Dame wins close. I think Notre Dame's also going to travel fairly well. So, even though this game is down in Miami, I think there is going to be a good following down there of Irish fans. I'm going to take Notre Dame, kind of the same thing, almost by like 3. It's going to be within a field goal for me.
Simulation had Miami 27, Notre Dame 18.
Okay,
So
close. All right, we're around it. Last one, Monday night game, and this is more interesting to see what's going to happen on that North Carolina sideline. TCU heading into Chapel Hill to take on UNC. Who do you got here?
yeah, I'm taking TCU by a touchdown. I know it's in Chapel Hill, but last I checked, and maybe things have changed, Belichick hadn't named a starting quarterback. There's just a lot with that team that seems there's a lot of uncertainties. Belichick's kind of kept things pretty quiet. You know, he's been very coy when it comes to depth charts, and it's just a lot of people who transferred in. I mean, obviously you have to give it to Belichick. He's a really good head coach. We'll see what he's like in college. It's way different than the pros, managing kids and recruiting and whatnot. But I mean, if there's someone who can do it, I would think Belichick can. But I'm just taking TCU just because I think they're a little more veteran led. So I'm taking TCU by 7 just because I haven't. I don't know what to think of North Carolina yet. I could be very wrong, but yeah, we'll see. TCU by 7.
Yeah, I don't have much read on this game at all. I'm just going to take UNC just in the aspect of I think the team will be prepared. We don't know much about UNC at this point. It's been kind of held, it's been kept pretty quiet. What is it, 40, 50 new guys on the roster? So all signs tell you it shouldn't work out, but it's Bill Belichick. Something's going to turn out. It's either going to be miraculously good or miraculously bad. I'm going to take the bet for a Monday night game. He's going to have the team prepared, disciplined, all that stuff. I'll just take UNC.
They've got nothing going up against them. No NFL, so this is this is their moment.
Yeah, all the eyeballs are going to be on him, which is kind of crazy.
Simulation had TCU 20, North Carolina 16, so a close one.
Okay. Close one. Anything else you want to talk about with week 1 before we head into a game that we got prepared?
I don't think so. Those are definitely the top five games of the week. I don't think. I mean, there's some other decent matchups, but those are definitely five that I think that if you're new to college football or if you just need a guide on what to watch, just go in that order because those are the five best you get. I
Yeah.
know you had mentioned Oregon. Oregon, I'm sure, handedly wins against
Yeah.
Montana State. They shouldn't have any issues. Arizona plays Hawaii,
Hawaii.
like I mentioned. I think Arizona should be okay. I'm hoping Fafita can bounce back and have a decent junior year. He was
Yep.
very, he's very, very, very keyed in on Tetsuroa McMillan. It seems like he
Yep.
just force fed him the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if he can actually spread the wealth. And I mean, U of A can't be any worse than last year. So hopefully they can at least start 1-0. But now I think that's all she wrote when it came to week one.
Cool. All right, so new thing we're doing this season is we're going to do a top five each week, and we felt like what would be appropriate this week with their games being on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and we're at the beginning of the season. What is the best day to watch football, college football, NFL football, all combined? As we will be having games basically from this weekend all the way to the end of the year on all these days. So yeah, we'll just start off, and our options are, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Tuesday, I guess we're just going to not include. We'll just say that's our sixth because, well, there's not much happening on Tuesday these days. And
Yeah.
Wednesday, I don't think there's a contract anymore. Can't think of anyone. Um, so, what do you have in fifth? We'll just go back and forth. We'll tell each other fifth and fourth, and we'll do that way.
Yeah, so my fifth is Friday. And the reason I put Friday is because it's the end of the work week. Uh, obviously, I think there's four better days than that to watch football. But if there is a game, I'm not like, oh, I have to watch it. That's kind of like, I mean, maybe I'll unwind and have a cocktail while watching some whatever football game is on that night. I mean, sometimes I know in Arizona's played on a Friday before, so I'll watch that. But in the grand scheme of things, I feel like there's never like ginormous games where it's like if you miss it, it's the end of the world.
Yep.
So Friday's my fifth.
Yeah, Friday's my fifth too. NFL never plays on a Friday, so that hurts it as well. But generally, last season, what we saw was Boise State kind of had held that Friday spot, but for the most part, they weren't very good games. Big 12, kind of the same thing. Maybe it would be like a Kansas State, but then it was kind of like a lower end team. So it's kind of like never really good matchups, but kind of giving a spotlight to a 25 team that is playing a team. Maybe they'll be in it, but likelihood probably not. So that's why I got Friday for five as well. What's your fourth?
My fourth, I put Thursday down just because there's that. I don't know. It's Thursday night football. Like the broadcast quality is better with Prime. I think. Um, the games occasionally you'll get a good game, but I don't know. To me, it's like it's the kickoff of the week. It's a it's a weekday. Occasionally you get some college football games too, but they're never really that good on a Thursday. So really, you're just probably tuning into Thursday night football. Um, yeah, I don't know. Until they start getting like better games or I don't know. There's always weird stuff that happens on Thursday night football, so that's why I'm putting it fourth.
So for me, I've got Monday Night Football at my fourth spot. The reason for that is there's been a lot. You're stuck to one game. There's no college. It's one game, sometimes two. But over the last, I would say 3-4 years, I've been finding myself watching more of the Manning cast than the actual Monday night game. So, which give a lot of credit to the Manning cast. They're very entertaining. They bring on great guests. But unless there's fantasy implications, there's not a lot of interest for me there. So unless there's like a reason to be watching the game, I find to tune out of the Monday night game more than anything else because a lot of the Monday night games, especially later in the year, you're predicting two teams that are supposed to be good, and we've seen it a lot over the last few years. One team's good or one team's horrible, and it's turned out to be a bad game. So that would be my fourth spot. What about? I have a feeling we're going to flip here on the three.
Yeah. So my my third spot's Monday, and the reason I put Monday is because of the Manning cast. I think that's fun. Uh, I feel like you normally get some better college games. Like there's always that random. I mean, I know we just talked about TCU North Carolina being on a Monday. Um, I feel like sometimes like you get a Florida State or someone like that. I know they've been bad the last year and a half, but um, yeah, you sometimes get a decent college game. And then for me, Monday night, I enjoy the Manning cast, and you had mentioned it. Implications of if there isn't implications of fantasy, I'll just twist that and just say it makes it a little fun if there are implications for fantasy, or biting your fingernails hoping that Travis Kelsey musters up 3 catches and 50 yards, or whatever you need to win. So I will agree. I don't think Monday Night Football is what it used to be, like when we were younger. Um, but they're trying. They're trying to make it back to being prominent and prime
Yep.
time. And I mean, I know we've talked in the past too about ESPN gobbling up the MLB uh, and I guess it was MLB that was the big one. And then they bought Red Zone, so ESPN's really trying to get back into like the game. And when I say that, again, like I said, we've talked about this, but they want to be the prominent sports leaders. So maybe
Yep.
that'll help with better Monday night games.
Yeah, so I'm going with Thursday here. Couple reasons why I'm going Thursday over Monday. One is that feeling that I like it being the beginning of the week, and it's that feeling where if you have a guy go off on a Thursday night, you feel like you've hit the lottery for fantasy. Like if you get a guy that goes for like 35 points, 40 points, like right off the gate, you're like, oh, this is gonna be a great week. Um, Obviously, if it goes the other way, it's horrible. But but the other thing is, there's one day that really pushes Thursday over the top, and that's Thanksgiving. That Thanksgiving slate, which lands on a Thursday, is one of the coolest days of the NFL season for me. And every Thursday from here until the end of the season, you get a decent slate of college football games. So if the NFL game doesn't intrigue you, there is always a good ACC matchup um, there that is worth watching.
I will say too, it is nice Thursday night. It is nice. You get off, whether you're working or doing whatever during the day. Going Tuesday, Wednesday with no football at all. It's nice
Yeah,
to finally get back. You're kind of those 2 days are always torture. You're figuring out
yeah,
who you want to pick up off your waiver wire, tinkering with your lineup, and then finally Thursday hits, and you're like, all right, thank God football's back.
yeah. All right, so here's the big one. Who's your two and who's your one?
So my 2 is Saturday, and my 1 is Sunday. Obviously, it's probably pretty obvious. Uh, you occasionally get an NFL game on a Saturday, obviously in the playoffs, but I'm more looking at it as college Saturday, NFL Sunday. To me, red zone on a Sunday, there's nothing better than 7 hours of commercial-free football. I do love me. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a tie because I do like NFL football more than college football. Um, Fantasy obviously helps with that too. So that's honestly it was fantasy that kind of put Saturday or Sunday over Saturday, and the fact that I just prefer NFL over college. But
Yep.
yep,
I agree with exactly what you just said. A lot of the same reasons. Sunday, I got one. Saturday, I got two. And my big compelling reason for that is every single Sunday slate in the NFL is great. It doesn't matter who's playing, it's always going to be watched. There's going to be one or two Saturdays this season. I don't know which ones it is, but it happens every year where you just look at the slate of games and you're just like, outside of like one or two games, like, this is really bad. Like, no top 25 matchups. There's nothing that's really intriguing. Your team, like for me, Oregon, they have a bye. Things like that are going on. Um, NFL doesn't seem to matter. I'll watch the Cleveland Browns play.
I was gonna say even a bad NFL game, I'll watch over. Well, I won't even watch. I mean, give me a
Yeah.
bad. I'm trying to think of a bad college. I don't want to watch.
You don't want to watch
Wake
Miami of
I don't want to watch
Ohio play like Bowling Green.
exactly. I don't want to watch
Yeah.
even like some of the Power Four. I don't want to watch Wake Forest play Georgia Tech. Like,
Yeah. You get even like the bottom of like the SEC and the Big Ten. Like I don't care about Rutgers.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Vanderbilt.
just.
I know Vanderbilt was decent last year, but
But still, you're like, this is more than likely not going to be a playoff team, and the best they're probably going to do is land in the Music City Bowl.
right.
I don't care. So, but all right. Well, big slate ahead of us. I'm excited, and of course, 1 week away, and NFL is here. So
Thank
fantasy
God.
drafts are kicking and everything, and we got a lot to watch at that point. And then October comes, and then all we have is sports. So, but
Yeah, so
anything want
calm before the storm right now.
to? Yeah. Anything you want to say before we sign off here?
No, I think I'm pretty good. We nailed what we need to talk about.
Cool. All right. Well, that's all we got for this week. Subscribe, hit that follow button, everything down below. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see y'all next time.